Serial killers. When we hear those words, names like Ted Bundy or Jeffrey Dahmer might come to mind. But today we're diving into the chilling case of a man whose crimes shocked not just his country, but the entire world. His name is Mikhail Popkov, and his gruesome legacy has earned him the title of Russia's most notorious serial killer. Strap in, because this is one of the darkest chapters in true crime history. Mikhail Popkov was born in 1964 in the small Russian town of Angarsk, Siberia. He grew up in a seemingly normal family, and for much of his life appeared to be an ordinary man. He worked as a police officer, a job that afforded him the trust and respect of his community. But behind his facade of normalcy lay something much darker, a violent obsession that would turn him into one of the world's most prolific serial killers. Popkov's reign of terror began in 1992 and spanned nearly 2 decades. His victims, mostly women, ranging from their early 20s to their late 50s. Many were found in remote areas, brutally murdered and mutilated. What made Popkov's crimes especially chilling was how he used his position as a police officer to lure his victims. Popkov would offer these women rides late at night, sometimes after they'd been out drinking or walking alone. Once they were in his car, he would drive them to secluded areas where he'd commit unspeakable acts of violence. His weapon of choice, often an axe, but he also used screwdrivers, knives, and other sharp objects. After killing them, he would leave their bodies in remote locations, sometimes staging the crime scenes to further taunt investigators. Despite the growing number of victims, Popkov managed to evade capture for years. Investigators were baffled by the nature of the killings, especially given the brutality of the crimes and the remote locations of the bodies. His knowledge of police procedures allowed him to cover his tracks for nearly 2 decades. Between 1992 and 2010, dozens of women were found dead across the region. Initially, investigators didn't connect the murders to a single individual. It wasn't until DNA evidence linked multiple crimes to one man that the puzzle began to come together. Still, it would take years before Popkov's double life unraveled. In 2012, authorities finally arrested Popkov after years of chasing dead ends. It was DNA evidence taken from his daughter during a routine check that ultimately led police to him. The genetic match was a breakthrough in a case that had haunted Siberia for years. Popkov was arrested at his home, where he confessed to a staggering number of murders. Initially, he admitted to killing 22 women, but over time the number continued to rise. By 2020, he had been convicted of 83 murders, though some believe the actual number could be even higher. Perhaps the most disturbing question is why? Why would someone commit such heinous crimes? In interviews, Popkov claimed he was cleansing the streets of immoral women, those who he believed were promiscuous or unfaithful. His twisted sense of morality fueled his violence, and his background as a police officer only heightened the sense of power he felt over his victims. Experts have debated whether Popkov's crimes were driven by psychopathy or a deep-seated hatred for women. Some believe his violent tendencies were rooted in personal issues with his wife, though this is mere speculation. Regardless of the psychological motivations, his cold, methodical approach to killing is what makes his case so chilling. In 2015, Mikhail Popkov was sentenced to life in prison for the murders of 22 women. But by 2018, that number had climbed to 78. Each time he confessed to more murders, investigators uncovered new details that shocked the nation. In court, he showed little remorse, often describing his murders with a disturbing lack of emotion. His life sentence without the possibility of parole means that Popkov will never walk free. He remains in a high-security prison, serving what is effectively a death sentence by incarceration. To this day, he is considered one of the most prolific serial killers in modern history. Mikhail Popkov's case has left an indelible mark on Russia. His crimes not only highlighted the dangers that can lurk even within the most trusted professions, but also raised questions about the effectiveness of police investigations in rural regions. For many, the trauma of losing loved ones to his violent spree still lingers. Though Popkov is behind bars, the sheer scale of his crimes continues to send shockwaves through Russia and beyond. His story is a stark reminder of the darkness that can hide in plain sight. Thank you for watching today's deep dive into the horrifying case of Mikhail Popkov. If you found this story intriguing, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a new episode. And let us know in the comments which true crime cases you'd like us to cover next. Until next time, stay safe.